All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone, with John Burr. John.
It's Dame time, eh?
How is it going? Dame time, are we saying?
Oh, yeah.
Same time, Dame time? Is he still not traded yet? I haven't.
That's the writer's
really
strike of the NBA.
Yeah.
We need David Zaslav to break in order for any of this to happen.
Yeah. I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, I guess they're posturing. They're, like you say, they're striking. They're making it. They're trying to make everyone feel a little pain before they get to the bargaining table. I think I'm with everybody where like the NBA has crossed some line of just like, this is ridiculous. Like
the Rubicon of ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out down the line, but the whole like, all right, your extension hasn't kicked in yet. Like you chose to join this team, and then I'm sympathetic to but there's no free agency anymore because no one has cap space. So you have to lock in your money, and then you just trust you get traded. I'm exhausted. I would rather talk about the controversial statements of Kenny Mauer that I just uncovered yesterday. That's what I would prefer to podcast about.
I've forgotten who Kenny Mauer is.
Kenny Mauer's the slick back hair ref that looks a little bit like Skeletor.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, I got. As soon as you said slick
Let's just go and get it out of the way because this is my show. We can talk about whatever we want. So Kenny Mauer got, in his words, kicked out of the NBA because he refused to take the vaccine. He was one of a handful of refs, I believe 3 refs. Kenny Mauer, the only one that anyone knows, who did not rejoin the NBA because he refused to accept to get the microchip. He claimed grounds for religious exemption because he mistakenly believes
Christian Scientist.
No, he's a Catholic. And Catholics are not. The Pope said the vaccine's okay. But he believed that there was aborted fetus parts in the vaccine, which is not the case. But
like if he's worried about harming children, he's got bigger issues with the Catholic Church.
But apparently I missed this because I was thinking about how Eric Lewis is. I was thinking about how we're losing some of our faithful servants of the game, the referees. Because yes. Eric Lewis getting railroaded. They ran him out of the league. And then I was like, and Kenny Mauer, he was a good official and he wouldn't take the vaccine, so he's out of the league. But apparently, I thought it'd be funny to tweet a picture of Kenny Mauer. That got, I think, 1 like on Twitter. Apparently he went on some like Minnesota radio station to talk about how like he was being persecuted for not taking the vaccine. And he opens up his defense with, the NBA sits me down with a Jewish lawyer and starts asking me. And the host is like, whoa. So boys and girls, Kenny Mauer's not coming back.
No.
Kenny Mauer not coming back. All right, John. I'd say normally when we do these shows, we haven't seen each other in a while. We had lunch yesterday. This is very outside of our normal routine. I hadn't spent time with you in person since a watch party last year.
You were in my world.
I went to your world. This was great. My wife went to New Orleans, is in New Orleans. Yet I'm the one who had gumbo on Tuesday. I met you at one of your haunts, the Spicy Boys restaurant. Had some
bad name, great bar.
It's fine. It is not the worst named gumbo restaurant in Nashville.
Oh, Gumbros?
Gumbo Bros. 100% one of the worst names I've heard.
Gumbros is right there.
It was Gumbros. I'd be like, what? Okay, I'll allow it.
So similarly, Spicy Boys also owns a snow cone stand across the street called Icy Boys, which in some way alleviates the tension for me.
Icy Boys feels like a fantasy football or basketball team name, but I'm not sure what it would be in honor of. Icy Boys is incredible.
There's an element of danger to these gentlemen as well. Like, I like them. I'm friends with them, but I've also been on New Orleans Saints crab nights, and the people that are coming in, those Saints fans, are deeply unhinged. So these are like real New Orleans troglodytes.
Wait, I've now added something. I've now added something to my social calendar, John. They have Saints watch parties, and there's crab legs involved.
Well, not just whole blue crab.
Well, you know who's starting for the Saints. This is our NFL segment. You know who's starting for the Saints.
Famous Jameis.
Jameis Winston.
Got a wing on him.
Jameis Winston of the famous Publix gave him some crab legs. He got in trouble. He did not pay for them. I want to be there. I want to go to there for these unhinged Saints fans as famous Jameis gets to start once again. Anyways,
I'm desperate enough to where I considered famous Jameis in fantasy lineups this week.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm playing fantasy football with 13 other Patreon supporters, our 14 team league. Yeah, I would say backup quarterbacks are actually at a premium. They get gobbled up. I've been thinking about the strategy of picking up kickers and then just dropping them, so they're just on the waiver wire.
We have left kickers behind.
A lot of people are doing that.
I don't like it.
You know, we're old, John. We don't like change. And everyone's like, oh, why use kickers? But you're still using team defense.
I also don't know. We haven't used team defense in a billion years. But honestly, I didn't really mind that. But I don't like any form of fantasy watering down where it makes you learn less players' names.
Oh yeah,
I liked the era of knowing every kicker for every team.
Yes.
Because otherwise you only know about like Garo Yepremian and Ted Dempsey. You know, I need to know. I don't know kickers. I don't know.
I would love a show of hands of anyone listening right now or watching on playback as we do this live who knows who those two kickers are. I do, because I had a book about them. I feel like I had a book when I was a child.
Nick Lowry
about Dempsey banging in a 63-yarder
with a half of a foot. There's a Ted Dempsey statue at Spicy Boys, by Jove.
That's incredible. That's amazing. John, what I guess we can do breakfast. Did you have gumbo again? Leftover gumbo for breakfast? What
I
breakfast
didn't, but I did have gumbo for 2 meals last night. The Braves came back and beat the Cubs, and I celebrated by ordering more Spicy Boys gumbo.
Yeah, we had gumbo lunch, and then you went back for dinner, huh? Or not even dinner. Was it dinner, or was it post celebration meal?
I have a
second dinner.
I have a repository. It was midnight dinner. Yes, minner. I have a stash of gumbo, Spicy Boys gumbo. I told Keith, like, I have so much sodium in my body now that my appendages are just salt-filled socks.
Ugh,
very nightmarish.
Yeah,
but it's so good.
It is so good. My breakfast has been we've sort of weaned the kids off of sugar cereals. Like, I put my foot down. I'm like, listen, this has been a thing we've been working on. No more Lucky Charms.
Had our first
no
one
more,
yesterday.
not even Frosted Flakes. But the problem comes when you start, like, when you look at the ingredients list and you actually start comparing the sugar content. And then it's like some of these non-sugary ones actually have the same amount of sugar as the sugary ones. And it gets very weird. It gets very confusing. Like, we've settled on a sugar cereal that technically doesn't have that much sugar in it, and it's chocolate Chex. And the chocolate Chex has been the breakfast of choice. It's
pretty much, that's what my kid has.
It's a little bit expensive.
This must be a mom thing where moms have heard about this cereal not having much sugar in it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the side and it's like, it doesn't have that much more than Rice Krispies. And you're like, oh, well, all right, fine. This is the chocolate cereal we can do. So we have a lot of the chocolate cereal around, and that is what I ate in desperation for breakfast this morning. I should tell you, before we get to our apologies, before we get to our maybe some Damian Lillard talk, before we talk about I don't know, Kelly Oubre or whatever else has been going on in the NBA, I do feel like I need to provide an interaction that I had that is right in my wheelhouse. It's a perfect September topic. I had, John, one of the more outrageous customer service interactions at a pizza store imaginable.
Was it at Dicey's?
No, it was at Jets Pizza, national chain, Detroit style. This is a store that my wife and I had sworn off before, just based on like their I believe there was a very strict enforcement of a coupon rule once, where like I didn't have it on in person when I came to pick up the pizza. Like, this wasn't even me faking the coupon. This was, I had a coupon, I ordered it, I went to go pick it up, and then they had a big deal about not having the coupon with me. And then there was another time we ordered delivery and they never brought it. So we're like, fine, we're never going to Jets again. Anyway, years passed, emotions softened. We're like, also prices went down. Our cheap pizza place is now more expensive than like Jets. And I'm like, well, I'm not spending $30 at like the gross pizza place if I can spend $25 at Jets and get what I think is a better pizza. Anyways.
Yeah. In the spirit of, and Chuck's to be haunted by Chuck, he would have pointed out here, if you text to order Jets,
so cheap.
Oh my God.
Yeah. If you
like
text
25% off.
Yeah. Everything's cheap there. Suddenly they're like, again, I don't know what's going on. If they've decided that we need to now undercut everyone, but like, I think Jets is pretty solid for fast food chain pizza, and it's now cheaper than all the other options. So we're like, all right, we're going back to Jets, and we had good experiences until maybe we ordered like 10 minutes too late on a Friday night. And you know, the Nashville backup had begun of the Jets pizza. And it was all like, it was a line of like 15, 20 dads. I'm assuming they're dads. And the guy working the counter, one had blown his ACL out or something. He was on a rolling chair, and had a knee brace. And he was kind of helpful, but like he would go through the orders, and like I get there and they hand me, you know, like, here's your order number. What's your phone number? Types it in, your order 76, calls out 76, hands me the thing. It's 3 items. We ordered 2 pizzas. It's 3 pizzas. He hands me 3 pizzas. And I'm like, well,
he did not patch your tire.
Well, so I'm like, well, so again, we haven't even begun to hit the problem. This is all normal, like no big deal.
Sir,
like,
this is too much pizza.
I was like, hey, yeah, this is 3 pizzas, so this is not us. He's like, oh, and then he didn't seem bothered by it. He just handed it to me, and I was like, no, that's not ours. And then he went to the next person, and then like, now at least I'm gonna look. Like, best case scenario, this is mine plus 1 extra. I open it up.
You gotta check for turbo crust every time.
You gotta check, make sure they put the turbo crust on there. I looked, and we had like a cheese pizza and like a large supreme, and there was a cheese pizza, and then there was 2 things that were not close. There was like a banana pepper pizza and then a circular veggie something. And I'm like, okay, these 2 are not us at all. I'm missing a supreme pizza. And they were like, and then, so he rolls back to the kitchen. He like pushes off and rolls back to the kitchen, which again is like 8 feet away. And he's like, hey, I think it was called a Jets 10. We got a Jets 10 back there. Like, oh yeah, fix it up right now. So then, there's still a line, like 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes pass. I'm like, hey, is that Jets 10 still coming? And then he goes back again, pushes off, rolls back. He's like, hey, where's that Jets 10? And they go, oh, Jets 10? What? I'm like, is there a Jets 10 back there? Are you working on it? And he's like, oh yeah. Yeah, we're working on it. We got it. It's in the oven. And I was like, can you confirm to me that you're making the pizza? Cause you said it was there. Now you said it's not there. And then this guy goes back, the guy yells back, can you check to make sure that Jets 10 is in there? The guy walks over to the oven, looks in like the little conveyor belt oven, says, yeah, coming up 3-4 minutes. Again, we haven't crossed a line yet of any problem. This is just normal stuff. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes pass. And like, there's this line of like, again, it's 20 guys hanging out who are all customers. And then like more people keep coming up. Like all the numbers are off. They're like, hey, what's your number? I'm ordered 88. I don't have that. So something's gotten off in the whole conveyor belt thing and the pizza preparation thing. And like, so like, I'd say another 10 minutes pass. I've texted my wife like, hey, we might need a backup plan. I don't think our other pizza's coming. Should I come home? Anyways, after like this, what's now been 15 minutes since like the pizza's been there, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, has my pizza come out yet? And the guy rolls back, hey, is there a Jets 10 back there? And they're like, what Jets 10? And at this point, I'm like, the one you pretended to look into the oven and said it was in there?
Oh God.
And And at this point, I'm like, all right, I don't want to be a privileged. What's the boy version of Karen?
Karn? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Carl.
I don't want to be a Carl, but I was like,
I think it's Keith.
It's just Keith. I was a Keith. I was like, I don't mean to be rude, but why did that guy pretend to look into the oven and tell me they were making a pizza when you haven't even started making the pizza yet? And he's like, I'm really sorry that happened. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird behavior. Could you not just tell me that you hadn't made the pizza? And at this point, I'm like, honestly, I felt like I did a good job of not going full Keith. And I'm like, yeah. I told him like, hey, I was like, I'm going to go home. Are you guys going to fix this? Are you going to make the pizza? I'll come back. But like, can you tell me if you're actually going to make the pizza? And the guy was like, yeah, I think we can do that. And I was like, please don't say I think I can do that. Just seriously.
I think he made a concession for you.
He did. Well, I was like, I don't mean to be weird, but if I go home, can I call you back and ask you if you're actually making my pizza? And he's like,
you're so lucky to be alive.
Yeah. But so I was like, here's what I was like. First, I was like,
honestly, you're just so lucky. You're so tall. People just don't.
I am tall. I'm tall, and I have a beard now. And and so I told the wife, I'm like, yeah, they never made the pizza. They lied by saying the pizza was in the oven. I'm just gonna come home. I'm gonna bring the cheese pizza home to the kids. And
that's a good call.
Yeah. So what happened was, I was like, because the guy also wasn't a great communicator who was like working the thing. He was friendly. He was polite. Yeah. But he also wasn't like, there was a lot of like, yeah, okay, I think so. Most questions.
The Green Hills Jets?
This is the Green Hills. It's like
the best Jets in the entire city.
It's tasty Jets. But it ended up going home. I got home, I called him about 10 minutes, like 5 minutes after I got home. I'm like, hey, out of curiosity, I was just in your store. Are you guys making the Jets tin that I needed? And he says, yeah, we actually are. It will be out in like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, can you tell me what time I should come over where it will actually be done? Because he had told everyone would come in. They'd be like, oh, how long for my pizza? He's like, oh, like 5-10 minutes. And that's
the Cracker Barrel line response.
Yeah. And then eventually he became like, oh, it's going to be a few minutes. That's what he started saying after the 5 to 10 minutes. And I said something like, what time? I was like, can you give me a time it'll actually be ready if I get there? And he's like, yeah, man, come in like 25 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'll be there 7:20. And it was in fact there. They did not charge me for it, but I felt that was the next level. And I didn't know. I think if the guy just hadn't pretended the pizza was in there, I could have really not gone full aggrieved white man mode. But alas, I did. Maybe I should send that guy an apology, which is the next segment of the show. After our breakfasts, we go to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It is frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. We did mention Damian Lillard already. John, is there anything you need to make right in the world?
Yes, and this is probably the most meaningful apology I'll ever make on this podcast. I said that John Candy died during the filming of Canadian Bacon. An egregious error. John Candy, one of the great comedic actors, nay, simply great actors of our time. All you need to see, if you don't believe me, is his soliloquy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and or his soliloquy from JFK. To believe that. He actually died during the filming of Wagons East. Thank you, Ryan Kirkpatrick.
Yes, great call, Ryan Kirkpatrick, in our Slack channel, the Fact Check Fact. He did uncover that error that we made on the show. Thank you very much. Again, Ed, I feel bad because you said it to me. I said, that sounds right. Let's go with it. Of course, Wagons East. Don't watch it? I guess watch it. Watch it for the historical artifact it is.
I've never seen Wagons East nor Canadian Bacon.
You have a John Candy hole that you need filled, which is a weird sentence to say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of that like Beverly Hills Ninja phase of his career that I just don't want any part of.
I
Like I'll be sad.
remember fondly watching the Canadian Bacon.
Isn't Richard Lewis in that? Am I making this up?
I'm gonna go and say that sounds right without checking it and being wrong once again. I did find
Next
that
week's covered, baby.
Rip Torn. I forgot Rip Torn was in there. This is before I've begun my Rip Torn obsession.
Reconsidering.
So now I might go back and watch it. I have an apology. This is again more ignorance by me. When I was talking with Kyle Mann last week,
Kyle Mann,
that is, excuse me. We're talking about how NBA Con was a disappointment and it was overpriced, and basically that the pricing aspect of it really clouded everything. I did not know that actually the WNBA rectified all these issues. I don't follow the WNBA closely. I'm not watching their conference semifinals, although I might tune in when we get to that. I believe possibly
what is NBA Con?
So NBA Con was a thing where it was in Las Vegas this summer, and it was just an NBA convention, and it was supposed to be for the fans, but tickets were $70, and it was kind of outrageous. If you need to know more, I recommend the back, 5-6 episodes of Fast Break Breakfast can bring you up to speed. But most people were like, it's amazing how expensive this is and how little we're getting out of this. Well, it turns out the WNBA had their own thing called Fanfare. I believe it's called Fanfare. Again, paving the road for another apology next week. That actually occurred in the exact same space in the Mandalay Bay Convention Center as NBA Con. It had most of, or if not all of the same things, like a full court inside basketball court, and then like a bunch of little displays and things. And it was free. It was totally free. Also, there were players who were staying at the Mandalay Bay. And so like I heard WNBA All-Stars were actually there at the convention. And I heard it was amazing. So apologies for not knowing that the WNBA had done this better. I mean, maybe I could apologize to the NBA that they quickly rectified their mistake within like a week. They were like, we're getting a lot of bad feedback for how expensive this is. What if we just, ate the cost on getting people in the door, and then people come away with a very positive experience?
I don't know if throwing a bone to the WNBA fans is gonna cut the mustard, as it were. And I'm just proud that you didn't make any Mandalay Bay shooters jokes. They were all there, and you made it through.
I did. I briefly forgot. I've moved on to the Caesars guy who threw a mini fridge out of his window while I was in Vegas.
That's just a bad beat story.
Yeah, that's a bad beat. Anyways, those were our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, just a reminder. If you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy yet, it's a really good time to use that promo code FBBF and try out Underdog Fantasy. They have bumped up their offer for new users. They have now raised it to a $500 opening deposit match. That will be available until October 4th. So if you want to try out Underdog Fantasy, you want to play fantasy sports for money, they will match your opening deposit up to $500 when you use the link in this episode's description or use promo code FBBF. You can play NBA best ball. If you're watching football on Sundays, it's a lot more fun. If you join a 3 or 5 person draft, play a little daily fantasy. When the NBA season starts, we got preseason in like 10 days. Once the NBA starts, those drafts will be a lot of fun. So if you use promo code FBBF, they will match your opening deposit up to $500. And also they will give you one free higher or lower pick throughout the entire NFL season. Things like, hey, if Lamar Jackson gets 1 yard rushing or passing, that's a winner. So never been a better time to try out Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code FBBF. As
my favorite
Fast Break Breakfast. Yeah.
My favorite fantasy football content is Underdog Fantasy.
Well, there you go. Hear it from John Burr, endorsed right there.
That's right.
Use that promo code FBBF. All right. Steak and eggs, best thing, John. What's the best thing you saw in the last week, 2, or 3?
In the never-ending spirit of Schadenfreude, I'm quite enjoying all the Sturm and Drang surrounding Dame to a championship squad, only for it to potentially end with the whimper of Dame Lillard pulling a little Canadian bacon of his own and ending up on the Raptors. That would really tie the room together. I think we just get Blazers North.
I haven't followed the story. Frankly, I can't handle it anymore. Just basically tell me when he's done.
Yeah.
I will say, as an NBA fan, and I've like complained about this before, like Damian Lillard on the Raptors, that sounds fun. Why don't we do that? That seems good for the league.
It just seems like we're adding another Blazers.
It does.
It seems like we're moving the Blazers.
We're moving a competitive Blazers to the East. I like it. Yeah. Let's do it. If it is Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent or something, okay.
No, there's no way. It's probably OG Anunoby in 2 seconds.
But you got to match more of that salary. So I don't know. I don't know how you get there. I know they're still carrying the Thad Young money around, which just seems easy to move.
Wow.
I don't know. Like, again, I am not that sympathetic to Dame, where it's like, you waited 1 year too long. Like, yeah, sorry. And this is again why the salaries seem bad for the NBA, where it's like no one wants the salary. Like even the the Raptors, and I wish it was more appropriate or accepted to just make a move like this, where you are not guaranteed being one of the best 4 teams in your own conference. It's just like a fun move. It makes your team better if you get Damian Lillard.
I will say this: if I'm Damian Lillard, if that's where it is, I would just stay.
Just stay. Play with Scoot Henderson.
I would just stay. Have a perfect, perfectly cromulent Blazers career. Maybe become the greatest Blazer ever. You wouldn't have the weird Clyde Drexler back, Houston Rockets era. You wouldn't have the weird Bill Walton, obviously on psilocybin during Pac-12 games era. You would just have I'm just a Blazer for life career. I just don't, but it is funny to me. And it feels like probably like smoke and mirrors, maybe a way to get the price down or something like that. But he probably still ends up on the Heat, right? I don't know.
Right. We're all just working towards, I mean, I am enjoying how the circle is growing out, where every little trade thing that comes out is.
I won't rest until Dame for Buddy Hield is thrown out there. Those are my favorite trade rumors of all time.
So this is like a negative thing for me, like the Buddy Hield trade request. Like I know you love it because you've been out on Buddy Hield forever. You're like, that guy can't be on a winning team. And
he is not a thing.
A lot of my enthusiasm for the Pacers was just like, man, Buddy Hield 6-man is fun. This team is going to be all offense. That was what they pitched us. They're like, we got the 2 best guys at scoring and transition on a per play measure in Obi Toppin and Bruce Brown. We're adding it to a great transition team already. You have Buddy Hield, flamethrower, who's spacing the court for Tyrese Halliburton, and all these things put together made the Pacers kind of fun. If you remove one, I'm kind of like, well, I'm now less excited about the Pacers.
I'm the other way. I've been kind of a relentless Pacers hater.
Yeah.
Trading Buddy Hield to the moon. That's a winning team maneuver. I can't wait to take the over, our over-under show.
But I can't get over. So we have, what are our current outstanding trade demands in the NBA? We have Dame Lillard. We have James Harden. We have next tier Buddy Hield. And I still think we have Furkan Korkmaz, right?
If I were to look at just the thumbnails of the things that pop up on my YouTube algorithm, I would swear that Joel Embiid had made a trade demand.
No, he's not getting, he's not having a trade demand. I mean, I do like, so, and then of course we have like, so now all trades now have to include this. And of course, Tyler Hero's not having a trade demand, but he's like with this big matching salary. Kyle Lowry, who just has been reduced to matching salary at this point of his career, he gets shuffled around. And then you throw in DeAndre Ayton, who apparently now that's going to be like Nurkic and Ayton are getting, I feel like I worked out a trade that makes a lot of sense. Like a Dame goes to the Heat. Tyler Hero, there was a rumor briefly for a couple of days that maybe the Hornets were going to get involved in the Dame trade because they want Tyler Hero. So like Tyler Hero can go to the Hornets. Gordon Hayward He can go back home to Indiana. Gordon Hayward to the Pacers. If you're the Pacers and you turn Buddy Hield into Gordon Hayward, that's it. That's a basketball fit win. That's good for them. Buddy Hield and Nurkic can go to the Suns.
We talk about Gordon Hayward so much in every trade.
He's this massive salary expiring deal. If they want to get Tyler Hero, that's who they're sending out. And then Ayton goes to Portland because they're in on DeAndre Ayton. I don't hate it. Like, Ayton's going to be overpaid, but if you get a free look at DeAndre Ayton, the Pacers, they signed Ayton to that free agent offer sheet. I can't remember. Does that restriction expire? Is it like 12 months they have to wait before they can trade for him, or maybe it expired with the season?
In hindsight, should they have just let that go? Just go with the offer sheet? I mean,
I don't know. Well, the Suns, if they did, the Suns lose him for nothing as opposed to lose him for the very terrible Yusuf Nurkic contract.
I mean, isn't that, I don't know. I'm not sure how that stuff works.
You said Schadenfreude. Like, I also have it. And I briefly looked at, I hadn't looked at our iTunes reviews in a while. They've taken a plummet. And it's like all the one-star reviews are like, these guys hate on teams too much.
Oh,
like,
well,
I guess we have a lot of
guilty.
We have a lot of Suns and Warriors listeners, I guess.
That's a Pacers fan, I believe.
No, but I'm really enjoying this Suns thing where, like, they just they paid to get rid of Campaign for money reasons. Campaign, not a very good NBA player, but better than nothing. And they did it just for luxury tax savings. And this is a team that's gone all in for what we've said is a 2-year window, basically, maybe. Like, they traded literally every pick they had, first and second rounders, literally every pick they had, plus Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, to get this title window with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal that literally might last 1 to 2 years, maybe longer, but probably they got 2 good years. And they've already moved before the season has started. They're dumping Campaign, and now they're going from Ayton to Yusuf Nurkic. Like, Nurkic, if healthy, has some okay defensive moments, but they're not.
I think
frequent.
that was years ago.
Yeah, that was like the bubble.
That was like the Terry Stotts era. They were like, oh man, they brought in Nurkic and totally turned around the defense. And I think it was like kind of one of those things where, like, it's just a new coat of paint.
Yeah.
It just feels it was some change, a catalyst for change, but I wouldn't say Nurkic has been a defensive presence in maybe multiple years.
Yeah, I think I can abide by that assessment. So, like, that's just, I want to turn $30 million contract into a $17 million contract and thus save Matt Ishbia, like, whatever it is, $40 million per season. So I love, as a Suns hater, as someone who has said I'm out on the Suns this year, it just seems like they're cost cutting. Now, if they could get FIBA hero Daniel Tice in a 5-way exchange from the Pacers, just a defensive center coming in, maybe that would work. My best thing, John, it is referee adjacent. They have, in fact, enacted some rules changes. The Board of Governors voted and passed. The main rules everyone's talking about is like the PPP mandates, the no player, no 2 stars wrestling at the same time. Also, they added a second coach's challenge if your first challenge is correct. But more minor, and this is sort of gone, I feel like it's gone under the radar. They are restricting what they call rip-through fouls. They're getting rid of even more rip-through fouls. This is terrible news for Santi Aldama. But
so any foul reparations is bad for Santi.
Also, of course, sorry, one of the big headlines was they added the technical foul penalty for flopping. Also terrible for Santi Aldama and Marcus Smart. But now the rip-through move, it has to be on a direct move towards the rim, which is good. This is good. All this is good. Trying to get rid of rip-through moves is great. This falls back, for me, under the...
I feel like this is all a conspiracy to stop Santi Aldama from reverse yambagging on people, so I'm against it.
Yeah, the Warriors think it's all against them. By the way, the Warriors like we're being persecuted with the new CBA, which it punishes teams for overspending. Which yes, they're correct. That specifically that rule I think was dumb, but it was done. It was done because other owners are like the Warriors and Clippers are making us look bad by how much their owners are willing to spend. And I still think like most owners cut off their nose to spite their face. Like you were getting luxury tax payments. Like you were getting all the money they were spending. Like that was coming directly to you. Now that's going away. Like you're actually losing money by doing this, but apparently they didn't want to get showed up. But yeah, the Warriors think the rule changes for the new CBA as far as greatly or heavily punishing going into the luxury tax. The flop rules. The hopefully now the new rip through move working for them. But I like it because again, it goes under my if it wouldn't happen in a pickup basketball game, let's try to get it out of the NBA. And by God, no one would ever do a rip through move at a pickup basketball game. Maybe Chris Paul would. What about, John, have you considered the war that the Warriors seem to be undergoing on their own fan base? Namely, maybe our friends Sean and Joey from Roundball Rock with the loathsome characters as far as general NBA fandom.
You mean besides Steve Kerr?
I'm saying like, all right, Warriors fans hated Chris Paul.
Yes.
Now they traded for Chris Paul.
Yes. That's funny.
The Warriors players hated Chris Paul. Now
Very
apparently they're trying to make up, and the Warriors are apparently going to start 6 players this year. It'd be very, very interesting to see how that turns out. The Warriors, of course, promoted Mike Dunleavy.
Right.
Did you see
that upset Joey?
Yeah, that because like one
his
of
least favorite player.
A lot of people did not like Mike Dunleavy on the Warriors. Did you hear this quote? Mike Dunleavy said, "We're trying to in the NBA, you're trying to maximize your time horizons," which is just
somebody's been.
What is this? Like the new light years
is Paltrow goop stuff.
Yeah. The new light years is time horizons.
He's a Swiftie. He's into his astrology. Can you real quick, as a master of social media, Photoshop Draymond Green punching Mike Dunleavy Jr. Only you use the spin kick to the face.
Yes, I could. Also, by the way, I saw a YouTube thumbnail of Mike Dunleavy getting kicked by Giannis, and they added so much gore to Mike. Like Dunleavy had this giant gash on his head, and like half of his face was covered in blood. That's like YouTube thumbnails for the win. Also, they had this flirtation with Dwight Howard. Nothing came of it. But briefly, like not overly popular NBA player Dwight Howard was talked about.
Not overly popular.
A guy who like the Warriors players had spoken ill about. Has he
farted his way out of China now?
They just signed Rodney Magruder, a guy that Klay Thompson famously called out for being dirty, and he said on the telecast. Because Rodney Magruder was like getting in their face and was like acting tough, and he's like, and Klay Thompson's like, this guy's not going to be in the league soon, so he's mad about it, and like,
man, Klay Thompson just every peel of the onion, stinkier and stinkier.
They obviously they didn't re-sign Bob Myers just basically for financial savings. They did.
We thought like Klay Thompson was like Zen modest Yahoo guy,
right? We thought he was cool. He doesn't seem that cool. He seems angry.
No, seems petty.
We're very biased though because he was so mean to our Grizzlies players.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This is breaking news. Have you seen this?
No, certainly.
The Warriors just signed Rudy Gay. Does Rudy Gay have a beef with Warriors players? It seems like we got something. I don't know. I can't find anything. So maybe maybe there's no problems there. But all that to say, yes, the NBA is persecuting the Warriors with the rules changes, much like the 90s Knicks. And I'm happy that we're going to hopefully see fewer rip-throughs called and rewarded. Hold strong. Hold strong, referees.
Diamond hands.
Hold the line. Keep it up. Anyways, those were our best things. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. John, what's the worst thing you saw in the last weeks?
Well, I was gonna keep it on brand and just make fun of the Buddy Hield trade, but I think we've done enough. I've done enough of that. So I'll go with I had forgotten Ben Simmons' existence. That time away, he was just gone, and I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I didn't like being confronted with how much defense meant to me when or defense solely being able to play defense meant to me when evaluating players. So it was like good for me to not have to do that for a while, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's back. And it's accompanied with Kardashian memes. So that's my worst for sure. Like just confronted with his existence yet again.
I'm a sucker for Ben Simmons, and
yes, like, I remember you would get into your trade machine quite a bit.
I still hope he can bounce back. Like, he's a fun player. He was a fun player. If you're not a Sixers fan and he's not passing up layups for you in the postseason, okay, he's fun. Like 6'9", 6'10" point guard guy who doesn't want to shoot, who's a good defender. I mean, this guy was before all the mess happened, he was like thought of as a top 30 guy. I mean, he was
all-star,
defense. He was an all-star. He was in like top 20 of Ringer trade columns, you know, like trade value rankings. And it seems like he would be a perfect fit for what the Nets actually have right now. They have all wings and they have Spencer Dinwiddie. They need somebody who can just pass the ball around. They need a creator. Again, the fit with Nick Claxton, not good, but like they just need someone to do the things he does back when he used to play basketball. And yeah, I'm with you, right? I forget a lot when I'm like plotting. Like I started doing depth charts and things and like running out who I thought would play for everybody. And like Ben Simmons is just a giant, like, well, I don't know. Is he still a thing? Like, can he still play at all? Like,
I mean,
what do you even do?
You have to remember, like, he did not recover from his playoff foibles. He didn't,
and
like, he was different.
He's had some actual physical issues, and it's just his back has been messed up, and just health wise hasn't been all there. He's had some mental difficulties he's been trying to work through, and it's just like there's just a lot, man. There's a lot with Ben Simmons, and I will start.
I'm not looking forward to confronting it again.
So the idea,
honestly, it's not resolved.
No, it's definitely not.
It's like it was like we tabled this discussion, and now it's come back to bite us.
My weakness, my fallacy is going to be what you're saying. I could get him for free. Like when it comes to any fake trade thing where I'm like, well, it's free though. Like I would try it out. And that actually
Are you ready for the Ben Simmons for Jaren Jackson Jr.?
No. I'm saying,
someone's going to say that, and I can't wait to watch your face.
The ideal fit of like a player to pair with Jaren Jackson Jr. could be Ben Simmons. Like
there it is.
The 20, whatever, what year was that? 2020 Ben Simmons, like that front court would be incredible. So
is Ben Simmons a good rebounder?
Yeah, he's a fine rebounder. I mean,
fills a hole in Jay's game.
The problem was always with Ja not a shooter. Do you want Ja and Ben Simmons on the court? But again, we're talking like they're just giving Ben Simmons away. That's what I start thinking. And so that leads me to my worst thing. I will say
this.
Oh, go ahead.
The Kardashians would be a better influence on Ja than his current friend group. I'd rather Ja be palling around in the Barbie mobile with Kim and Tristan than Thompson, that is, than his current jet set.
So speaking of things being given away for free, I think my worst thing was the Sixers getting Kelly Oubre on the minimum. Now, I'm prepared.
Deal on Brooks.
I'm prepared to acknowledge that. Yeah, do we have a deal on Brooks?
I'd say Dylan Brooks swindling the Rockets for $90 million while Kelly Oubre gets the league minimum.
Do you mean the FIBA World Cup defensive player of the tournament.
Yes.
He did get, I forgot this. And thanks to Magnus for pointing it out. I think it was Magnus pointed out. Dylan got shunned from the all tournament team.
I saw that.
FIBA. Didn't make the first or second team.
Was that voted on by players? How did that happen?
No, Kelly Oubre to the Sixers for a minimum. It goes back to like my own personal wants for the Grizzlies, where I'm like, no, I don't really want to sign Kelly Oubre or trade for Kelly Oubre. But like, wait a minute, he's free? Like, just try Kelly Oubre for free? Yeah. I'd rather have that than Derrick Rose. I'd rather have that to see, like, is Kelly Oubre better than John Conchar? Let's try it out. And again, no one who has Kelly Oubre wants Kelly Oubre. So that's pretty big red flag for signing a Kelly Oubre. But it does seem like if it's free, like for the Sixers, that seems great. Like, you're not going to play Furkan Korkmaz because he's discontented. You're just going to play Kelly Oubre. It sounds like a great signing, and I kind of want it for me. I feel sad. I'm mad. It's not available. Do you have any of these pinings for a Kelly Oubre, or are you just aware that he never passes and he can't shoot? I don't care.
I lived through Kelly Oubre at Kansas and have never been.
Going back to college.
Yeah, they were almost teammates. This is the Embiid and Oubre finally. They're not really reunited because Joel and Andrew Wiggins left the year before Oubre came, but the rock chalk is strong suddenly in the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, I hadn't made that Kansas connection. So,
but Kelly Oubre is kind of miserable to watch. So,
yeah.
Talented,
he's not,
but very physically beautiful.
Very, very gorgeous.
One of the hottest NBA players.
Yes. Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to say an awards segment and our kudos to me, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questioner.
You send these to me, I apologize.
Yeah, they're up there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Caleb McNeese asks, what's your Roman Empire? I'll need help from you on that. What does it mean?
I was going to ask you what it meant. I think I know what it means. I think there was something on social media about like men thinking about the Roman Empire so many X number of times per day. But I don't know what the actual source is. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what the actual starting meme or how that became like a viral thing.
In the chat says it's weird thing you think about more than you should.
Yeah. So that was context clues what I was putting together.
God.
So the weird thing you think about more than you should.
Can this be answered safely? I
mean, you and I both.
I mean, basketball
are into. Oh yeah, well, but we're like, you're into collectibles. You have a lot of interests as far as hobbies, and like you love all kinds of classic wrestling. And
I have. I mean, I guess for most people, I mean, they're probably not watching YouTube videos of French catch-as-can wrestling from the 1930s. I'm willing to wager that they haven't seen every episode of the British wrestling show World of Sport that aired from the 50s until the 2000s. I don't know why I have seen the new Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot film 6 times, but I have.
Is that the Murder on the Orient Express?
There's a new one, A Haunting in Venice. That's not based on an Agatha Christie novel. Wait, there's a Hercule Poirot fan fiction movie out right now? Yes, with Tina Fey's in it. It's absurd. What? And I've seen it so many times, and I take people to it so I can watch their face when certain things happen. That's like back in the day when I went and saw Arlington Road at the Dollar Theater 6 times so I could turn around and watch the audience at the climax of the movie. Yeah. The climax is Tim Robbins is so tall. But I also like super into like BBC spy shows that were filmed on VHS. Yeah. Is that just all? So I think at the heart of this question, it's what you're describing.
And it's what I've actually wondered a lot about aging. Like, is this just what happens to all dudes? We just like, I just want to watch these 1960s movies I never saw before.
My concern is that I'm not growing as a person because it's the same crap I was obsessed with when I was 18.
Why do we have to grow as people?
That's a good point.
You and I are fathers now. Just as long as we're taking,
I'll just channel it into the.
I feel like I'm growing a lot as far as like emotionally and like loving my children and things like that is a change from where I was 20 years ago. But as far as my interests, no, I just think about I think about fantasy football now because it's fantasy football season all the time. Like I can't stop thinking about it. And I think about Legos constantly, but I talk about Legos all the time on the show. And I'm watching just old movies. Here's the thing I've been thinking about, John.
If it's okay, go ahead. I'll come back.
I finally watched the new Cats movie. Like I watched the whole thing.
Wow.
And I think I loved it.
The James Corden scene.
I sat there.
Idris Elba goes for it.
I sat there engrossed.
Yeah.
Like mouth agape. And like, if you want to say it's an abomination, fine.
Yes.
If you want to say it's one of the weirdest things you've ever seen, 100% it is. But I thought, like, this isn't even a musical I don't even care that much for. I don't think the music is great. I thought the musical arrangements were amazing. And visually, I didn't want to blink because I was scared I would miss something. And I started thinking, does that make this one of the greatest pieces of art I've seen in like 5-10 years? Like this movie is shocking. It's shocking.
Yes.
It is so audacious. They did what?
Dame, it's not Helen Mirren. Who is it? Judy
Dench. They did that to Judi Dench.
Full frontal.
Yeah, and like I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where all the characters had their ears removed, but then ears were put on the top. There's no ears on the sides of their heads. They're all cast on the whole thing is stunning. And I was like, that was the most excited I've been for like start to finish in a movie. And I could it was more exciting than Mission Impossible. Okay.
Yes.
Well, like I was titillated and like my goosebumps. Like it was just like, this is what are they doing? Yeah. Why are there weird floating CGI trombones that look like Microsoft clip art? Why did they put that on the whole thing from start to finish? I was
easily the hardest I've ever laughed while watching a movie in my entire life.
And you throw that element into it as well.
I've taken a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about Cats recently. Like I've been listening to the songs. Like I've been in my car on Spotify being like, man, I'm gonna listen to this new arrangement. Like there's some Taylor Swift original song. And I'm like, this song's pretty good. And like, I can't, man, I'm all about it. We did. I didn't mean to shoehorn in Taylor Swift, but good job. That's good. SEO for us getting on the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah. I think we answered it. We're men. We think about weird stuff. Those were ours. What's the next question?
I'm going to throw in a question of my own. Just keep it on the Taylor Swift topic.
Okay. Yeah.
Which NBA player would you like to see have a fabricated relationship with Taylor Swift?
This is easy. Why can't Taylor Swift just date a Grizzly for my downloads? Just date any Grizzly.
Well, which Grizzly? Would it be the Ja Reclamation Project or would it be?
Oh my God.
I mean, that would be life-saving on many levels.
That would be
because that ends. Ryan Kirkpatrick jumps in with Steven Adams.
Why can't Steven Adams step in for Travis Kelce? Like, oh, would you like to? I mean, Taylor Swift's relatively tall for a lady, statistically speaking, and maybe she wants to. She's gone from Travis Kelce. Maybe she's ready for a full 7-footer with Steven Adams. He's funny. He's fit. He's rich. I mean, does Travis Kelce make Steven Adams money? Now I need to know what because NFL players generally get paid less unless you're a quarterback. I'm now googling Travis Kelce's contract.
Although he is a tight end, which that's not the most highest paid.
Yeah. Travis Kelce basically makes what Steven Adams makes. 4-year, $57 million. That is money that like Buddy Hield would kill somebody before he took that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Buddy Hield is making Travis Kelce money. So Kelce does make a little bit more.
Conchar.
Well, I was obviously thinking of the white guy. Yeah.
Jitty. Well, he's got a clothing brand. He needs his SEO.
It would, dude. it would be like, I could like, if Taylor Swift dated Desmond Bain, I could buy whatever Lego set I wanted, just for like all the downloads would like increase like 100-fold. That's what I want.
Desmond Bain, that's perfect.
Here's another. We'll close up our croissant questions with this one, actually, John. I got another one. Bryce asks, from my buddy, former patron Miles, what is the likelihood that Domantas Sabonis has a better career than Arvydas Sabonis? And I would just like to say,
Miles,
you can't ask a question for a former patron.
Get out of here.
That's like buying one plate at the buffet for two people.
The entitlement.
Yeah, get out of here, Bryce.
You haven't earned this response. You haven't paid for this response.
Bryce is on probation. You tell Miles if he has a question, he joins us at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It's a great time to sign up because you know why? Fantasy basketball is here. We have regular fantasy basketball. I'm going to be posting the signups probably later today at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. The International Stackhouse of Pancakes draft is October 22nd. Get in on our negative fantasy league. I think it's the best fantasy league ever. A negative fantasy league where you're rewarded for missed shots, for turnovers, for ejections, for fouls, and also, of course, minutes played. So if you want to play in the International Stackhouse of Pancakes negative fantasy league, join us at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You have to meet the $5 a month tier or higher to play fantasy basketball. You can do both regular fantasy and negative fantasy. So there's never been a better time to sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Also, if you join, you get to join the Slack channel. You get to submit your question to be answered on air. You get a bonus episode. John and I will be recording the bonus Millennial Brunch $500 croissant episode this Friday. You get all of that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Support the show, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, John, the awards segment of the program was just, again, emphasizing that negative fantasy. It's starting. Put it on your calendar, October 22nd. Sign up and play at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Kudos to me, John. I just want to say a quick kudos that I called that the Suns were going to cut salary and not actually go for it. And that's what they're doing. So patting myself on the back with a kudos to me.
And kudos to me, Buddy Hield remains an unplayable answer in all forms.
Kudos to you, Buddy Hield, not an important part of a successful
franchise's plans
in NBA team. Par fadeaway, John. What thing are you looking forward to?
I mean, now I just can't stop thinking about Taylor Swift becoming a part of NBA Twitter. But I guess and that leads to many Ben Simmons scenarios in my head. But honestly, I'm very interested in what exactly is going to shake out in Ben Simmons' former universe of Philadelphia. I think that's like the most looming NBA question to me that actually has impact. So that's
you don't think that? The Dame has huge impact.
I guess you're right, but I have I guess I have fatigue. I have Dame fatigue.
Yeah, that part, yes.
So I've kind of moved on to my next biggest story. Like, I will be excited about the Dame stuff again when it happens, but I can't really talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Or devote any more ideas.
You would think it has to happen soon, right? I mean, training camp's open.
Already happened.
Training camp's open next week.
Yeah.
Like, just get it done, folks.
I hate it because it's still anything that leans into the regular season being a farce hurts me. So I feel like this leans into that slightly. So yeah,
I can't get up.
I am excited, and my secret motivation in all things Sixers is I just don't want anything in Melton's path as a starter.
Well, I am not super thrilled about the Patrick Beverley acquisition and the Kelly Oubre acquisition as far as it relates to our guy, D'Anthony Melton. I am excited. I mean, this could be my par fadeaway, John. What is it? It's September 27th, 2023. I'm going to do a par fadeaway for next off season. I mean, are we all prepared for free agency next year when Kyle Anderson and D'Anthony Melton are both free agents? Come on now.
No, you're not.
Come on now. Let's get excited. Although, maybe extend those guys. Give them some good extensions. Although Daryl Morey apparently wants to go into next season with no one under contract. Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, D'Anthony Melton, all of them free agents. And of course, James Harden. It's weird. So like if nothing happens on the trade fronts, John, and my official part fadeaway will be preseason basketball a week from maybe Friday. But are we really going to go into preseason with like all of the people we mentioned in trade rumors? Like, are they just going to be set out? Like the Heat aren't going to play Tyler Hero. And it's like, are the Suns actually going to, I mean, they'll probably play Ayton, but like, are they going to go into training camp in this like 1 year of their title window with like, yeah, Ayton was like loudly reported on by all the Suns media. Like they've linked to maybe getting Nurkic for him. Like of course, Portland, whatever players get involved. The Sixers, like who's going to be involved? It's going to be weird. Adam Silver is going to be very upset. I don't think he passed any rules to say you have to play in preseason games. Maybe he should have. Iron Fist, Adam. It's an 82 game league plus preseason.
Diamond strong hands.
Yep. Anyways, if you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Try out Underdog Fantasy. Again, they will match your opening deposit up to $500. And then depending on what state you live in, you might also get a free higher or lower pick. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at FastBreakBreak. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
I will remember